What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 17 of our Brentford career mode. Almost said Lille that time. Brentford, though. And today, we might get to our first game here against Bournemouth. But this is a super important transfer window. And, we have some things to look at, some things to do to build this team a foundation going into the new year. And obviously, as we have 30 million here, I might get a little bit more because I think that's a little bit high, but just a little bit. But it's super important. Last year we struggled with the two Premier League teams we played, West Ham and Leicester, who are obviously good teams, but we were 5-0 down for Leicester at one point. We scored 3 in the last 10 minutes, which meant nothing, and then we conceded 4 to West Ham in a 4-2 loss. So it's going to be a tough year. And we struggled last year with Bournemouth. We had that 3-3 with Watford, and those games, when you jump up one level, it's a huge difference. You go into the championship and you're playing the top tier teams and you're like, let's not lose this. We're trying to stay top here. Anything but a loss will do. And then you get into the Premier League, one level up, and now these are must wins. So it's a completely different atmosphere, a completely different set of pressures. And we struggled last year against the Premier League team, so it's incredibly important here that we have a good transfer window and, we get good players in, players who are going to come in and have an impact, and hopefully we do that. Last episode, we bought some players in. We'll take a look at them. Romero, someone we bought for free last season, so he'll be starting in goal for the moment. But at the moment, the only change would be Romero, and then we have Ali Seda starting at camp. But then we bought in Guehi, who I believe will eventually pass Pinnock up in that spot. And then we bought in Tyreek Mitchell, who can play left back. A really good left back, a young man who's got a bright future ahead of him. He's going to be rotating in and out with Henry. We also bought in this lad right here. I'm just not going to attempt to say his name. I'll try and find it somewhere if he had a better first name or whatever. I believe it's Ingu Yamsa. That's just what I believe it is. But we paid $1 million for him. He can play right back or left back, and he'll grow into the team as cover for both sides. And then we bought Balogun in for free, the young Arsenal product, who I believe is a lot better than 65 overall and, here on a free. But we've had a pretty decent window so far. We've got problems still, I believe. I want to bring in one more midfielder, a right back, and then one more player to play up along the front. Canos might be on the way out. We'll see. But we have Fosu there right now, and that's kind of it. We have Balogun and Forrest who can play striker. I kind of want one more pretty decent striker, but if we can get a striker who can play on the wing as well, I think that's a good spot to be in. We're actually really short up front now that I'm looking at it. Fosu can play out on the left or the right behind Mbeumo. Canos can do the same. I'd like to bring in another player who can do the same, but I'd like to have 4 players in that spot. So maybe 2 wingers are on the cards if Canos leaves. If he doesn't, then maybe just the one. But we'll see. We have him on the transfer block. We have a couple players on the transfer block just to see what kind of bids that we can bring in for them, as Baptiste has been sold, and then an offer has come in for Joel Valencia of 1.25. That is a player we can let go. Just going to accept it. 26 years of age, 68 overall. Pretty self-explanatory, but a little bit of money set to come our way. And in this first season, all the money we could get is probably most important. But as I said, the most important one this time is right back, as an agreement has been made for Sorensen to pay 1.8. We're going to accept that. I'm hoping these players just accept wages because, this dude's on 12K a week. You wonder, especially with a lot of these players, especially the players who are younger, making decent money. They don't really tend to leave. They kind of just stick around forever. So I'm hoping those guys go. We get a little bit of money in. But right back is the priority. And then maybe midfield. We'll see. And see, there we go. Sorensen's talks have broken down. But Valencia has been sold, which is good. An offer's coming for Fosu from Southampton for 2.4 million. There's no way. At 2.5 to 3 million, which is what that guy said his value was, there's no chance that Fosu's leaving. There are players I would sell if a really good bid came in. I mean, Ivan Toney's value right now is between 30 and 54 million. I would sell at 54. One good season in the championship. Obviously an absurd season at our standards, 60 goals or whatever, but that might be that would probably be something I would do. But, you know, we'll see. But let's go try. I'm going to try Max Aarons here. Down at Norwich. Staying in the championship. Cantwell's a really good option as well at 10 million. But Max Aarons here between 16 and 23. I'm hoping we can sneak this transfer in for as low as possible. They're staying in the championship. You would expect him to go to a pretty decent-sized club this year in real life. At minimum, he'd be coming up to the Premier League, you feel. But he's been linked with a variety of big clubs. But sometimes youngsters get linked with players or clubs who are a little bit too big for them because they're young and they look good in, you know, video games and things like that. So we'll see what happens with Max Aarons, but I guess the sky is the limit. We'll try and go to 18 million. 19 and a half. I'm nitpicking with this guy here. 19. They're fine. 19, that's less than I was thinking, but it looks like we might be bringing in a proper good right back in Max Aarons, and we might be set for the future on that side. Dalsgaard's an excellent player. He's just 31 or 32. It's time to get that insurance plan in place. It's just how the business works. And that is how we're going here. We have 16 million transfer budget left remaining after this. He only wants 24K. Not too bad. I'm just going to accept that. And we have bought in a fullback. Max Aarons to play right back. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Just going to go ahead and bring him up. I think he's just going to start, and then we'll bring Dalsgaard back up this way. Do I want to bring him onto the bench? I'll bring him onto the bench ahead of Mitchell, I guess. Mitchell. He's the captain, Dalsgaard, I believe. He's got to be on the bench. Just came back from injury the other day in the playoff semi-final first leg that Brentford unfortunately lost 1-0, but they'll have another chance at home with the crowd, I believe, so not too bad. But let's take a look at the Youth Academy to start this season. We have two players in here. Jackson Rowe at left back and right back. Someone we could have called up, perhaps. I'd like them to grow a little bit more. And then Roman Seymour is only 15 still, but has a bright future ahead of him. That fullback there looks really, really good, and I just paid $1 million for that. Always how it goes. Always how it goes. But we have 16 million for what would be 2 spots. Someone on the front line. 11 million for Janelle. Someone I quite like for Janelle, but 15 million is not one of those I would sell for. Maybe around 20 I might sell for, which I don't expect to come our way. But he's a good player, Janelle. But a position I'm looking right now to kind of upgrade or just get more competition in there. I mean, if we look at the squad, at midfield we have Janelle, Ali Seda, De Silva. De Silva's spot's not going anywhere. Ali Seda, I'm going to try and let that be his spot this year. And then we have Jensen on the bench. And then we have Bryant, who can also work his way in there. Norgard, who's going to leave if a really good bid comes in, I feel. So, Marcondes as well. So I think we just need a little bit more in there. Another player, because I expect a player or two to leave. But I guess not at this moment is that a crazy priority for me. Having more quality in there is nice, but I want Bryant to get better. I want Ali Seda to get better. So, you know, it's going to be one of those things. But it looks like we are going to get to the Bournemouth game today. We are going to have our first game of the season today against the team that came up with us. Came up with us. This is an important game so quick into the season. And this is going to be our starting lineup for this game. Jolis, Tony, and Buemo up front. Aliseda, De Silva, and Janelle. And then Henry, Pinnock, Caceres, and Max Aarons. Couple of new signings in there. Romero, of course, in goal. Let's jump into this. Back outside to Aarons. And he's already looking to bomb forward. As he plays that out to Tony. It's a nice ball out there, and Tony slips that in. Oh, good save. And we get up here. It's still in play. So that comes out to Buemo. Slid across here, and it's one more out there, and it's Jolis who's alone. Oh, good save again. Oh, couple of good saves early on as we look to take the lead. It's going to come back out to Buemo. He's just going to end up taking too heavy of a touch, but decent start here. Decent goalkeeping. Nice ball forward, Solanke. I've stepped off the wrong way. Left him tons of space. It's 1-0. I thought Danjuma might have been offside, and he opens the scoring here, as he did at the weekend in real life or on Monday. Danjuma with the goal. And it's 1-0. It's poor defending on my end. Just couldn't find the right man to switch on to. Eventually the gap opens up, and that's a easy enough finish for someone like Danjuma, who's had a really good year. It's 1-0 in 22 minutes. Nice play forward. Danjuma steps in. Nice Aaron. Or Max Aarons does well. I said nice Aarons does well. One more. Nicely done. Back through to Aliseda. And Tony's backed off the defender here, and Tony's racing forward. He holds on to it. It's 1-1. That's a big goal. I thought he had it taken away from him. But right before halftime, we level it up. Get the crowd back in it. First game in the Premier League. And we're back in it. That's a big one. I thought he lost it here, but he did well to use his strength. Just kind of hold off the defender for a moment before just absolutely smashing that. And he grabs his first goal in the Premier League after an incredible record-breaking year in the Championship. And right on halftime, we level it up. Slid out wide to Jolis, and Jolis can drag this forward. He gets a decent ball out there to Tony. Tony does really well to hold that off. And it comes out to Henry, who's made his run into the box. It slid across to De Silva. He scored! And we've turned it around here. And the first match week is 2-1. I tried to get that across to either one of them and happened to get to De Silva, who starts off the season with a bang. It's 2-1 here on 65 minutes. And right after that hour mark, we grab the goal to take us ahead. 2-1. It's a nice play out to Henry, and he's just very quick. Slides it across here. Could have gone to either of them, and it would have been a goal. But De Silva does well to collect it on the turn. All in one motion, and then just put it out of the reach of the goalkeeper into the bottom corner. And that is a big, big goal. 66 minutes gone, and we're 2-1 up. Nice tackle. Oh, we got a little bit lucky that Solanke fell down, though we give it away. That's a bad giveaway here. He's turned inside nicely. Bought an extra body over there a little bit recklessly. So that comes into a good spot. Here's Billing. Back to the top there. Need someone to step into those gaps. It's done well. That's brilliant. God, come on. Solanke with the goal. Man, I cannot believe it. They just kept going over and over, and it was just like every time we drag a player, I hate that move. It gets me every time, that pullback. It gets me every time. He's done it there. Stepped inside. It was a little bit close to Romero there, but man, 15 minutes to go, and now we're level again. That is not a great goal to concede. And Caceres is going to drag this forward, get it out wide. Nicely done to Jolis. And Jolis can race forward here nicely. And Jolis slides it across. There's one more. Aliseda with a decent turn. And Aliseda cuts back inside brilliantly, and it's straight at the goalkeeper. Oh, man, that was his moment. That was surely his moment. Oh, Jesus. That's got to be a goal. It just has to. He just put it straight at him. There's only 4 minutes left as well. That would have been a massive, massive goal. They're moving the ball around again, and I'm always worried about what they're doing. That's a brilliant ball in. That's a huge tackle. And it's a goal kick as well. As Solanke goes off the pitch. We've got a minute. Is there a late miracle on opening day? As Pinnock drags this forward. Bryant, one more. De Silva. Nicely done as that comes forward to Tony. That's not the touch I was looking for from Tony, but we get a little bit lucky as it comes out to Bryant. Henry, this is it. And Henry plays that into Tony. And Tony trying to make space here. And Tony stepped inward, and I needed him to hold that off because the run behind him came in from Fosu. But it finishes 2-2. A point on opening day, but these, as I said, these are the games you got to win down here. And we didn't. Defended poorly at the back end there. At the back end of the game, not the back end altogether, but big result. Big result that didn't go our way on opening day. It's a shame. But, you know, we grab a point at least. We don't leave empty-handed, but not ideal. Now, one thing I was looking for there were two things I was looking for there late on. Players I wanted to bring off the bench to help cause problems. And we didn't really have too many. Now, there are players here that are okay. I like Fosu. Kanyos is okay. I don't rate Kanyos too much as a winger here. And then I wanted to bring in someone for Ali Seda as well. That position might be a problem also. Just having a little bit of depth in that position. Not because Ali Seda is a bad player, but because just getting fresh legs in a position where they're bombing forward, I think, from midfield is something we don't have. Now, Jensen is a good player here and is not an awful defender or anything, but I believe for midfield, I want De Silva, Jensen here, Ali Seda, and possibly another player. And then Janelle and Bryant in that spot there. I think that's what I want to do. So possibly in midfield and striker are the places we need. Not striker, but the forward line. And then, you know, in that midfield spot, as this lad here, I don't know anything about him, but I'm trying to see if they're probably not even getting a scout report in, are they? Which is super annoying. Super annoying. This is him, right? Yes, it is. Can we, yes, get a scout report on in just in case, but that's not necessarily the player I'm looking for. I just kind of want to see. But as for the forward line, I believe I know who I want already. We looked at him last episode. The Schalke player, the Welshman. Though Cantwell would be a good option. We have around 16 million left, so I mean 11 on Cantwell. They can only really play on the left right now is not exactly what I'm looking for. Noah Lang's a good option, though expensive. Conor Gallagher is a pretty good player, between 10 and 15, though. But one player I am looking at, I'm not sure where he's gone. These are also players I'm looking for in midfield. So very quickly we went from needing a deeper midfielder to needing a forward-thinking midfielder and being comfortable at deeper midfielder. It's one of those things that happens. Harvey Elliott is someone I might want to bring in on loan. His contract length is too short. Between 9 and 9.8 at 18. I'm going to keep an eye on him. But where has he gone? Here it is, Matondo. Rabbi Matondo, between 5 and 7 million. This is a good price for a good player who can play in all sorts of positions up front. And on either side, if we need a spark, this is him right here. Let's offer the transfer fee. Get it up to 5 and see what they say. They're comfortable with it. All right, 5 million for Rabbi Matombo, or Matondo. I'm going to get that mixed up a lot because of Matumbo, but Matondo. Let's get him going here. Let's negotiate. Bring this lad in. and have help along the front line and see what we can get here. Rotation, is he comfortable with that? Excellent. That's what I want to see. He's happy with it. 5-year contract length. No release clause. What does he want as a wage? He's on 12K. He wants 18. Just going to let him have it. Now, there's an issue. I think Conor Gallagher is the man I want. Let's go to the transfer hub again. I've backed out there. We have 11 million here. 11.24 with 44K in wage. Can we get Gallagher for that kind of price? I think that's the player I want. Looking through the players, we can take one more look here. McAllister's a really cool player, but just not going to be able to afford him. And they stayed up, so it's not super realistic. But let's find him. Conor Gallagher. Oh, maybe he's not as dynamic as I thought he was. Maybe Matthias Pereira then. They want 16 for him, right? 16.5 is what they really, really want. We might have to wait to get a couple players in. But I think that might be the new player. Gallagher is just not as dynamic as I was hoping for, but Pereira is excellently dynamic. Can even play out on the right. He's been playing more up along the striker more often in real life, as you know they've been looking to grab goals and such late on in their season. So Matthias Pereira is probably going to be the guy should we find the money. Now we need a couple more million. I'm hoping a bid comes in for Canos. Now I like Canos. Former Liverpool player there, of course. He's just not dynamic enough, not quick enough to play out on the wing in the Premier League. So that's a player I'm comfortable letting go. I'm just hoping that bid comes in. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it comes before the game here against Arsenal next. Jesus. Pinnock has something to say there, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough year, as you saw there. We struggled with Bournemouth a little bit there. They're a bit worried that the club isn't meeting their demands. This doesn't feel like a team that's motivated to win anything this season. I mean, that's wildly harsh. Win what? You just want to stay up in the league. Isn't that enough? Surely. Surely. What a strange request. As interest comes for Neil Maupay, another player I was half looking at. He'd be too expensive, but he'd be a neat little addition. Always wanted to play with Maupay. It's just never really worked out. As an offer is coming from Mbeumo from Newcastle for 16 million. That is not going to happen. Let's reject that right now. Only 22 years of age. Can play on the right, up front. It's going to be a difficult year, guys. I hope you're ready for it, but Jensen wants to play. And as for the transfers, we cannot move for Pereira until we get extra money in. It's just not going to happen. But that's a player I think would be really helpful. West Brom did stay up, but you know, I think they're willing to let him go. I believe he's in the final year of his contract. It's going to be tough. So, you know, we're looking here. We got a point after our first game there against Bournemouth. We're sitting in 13th. We have Arsenal coming. Going to be difficult. Next episode, we'll get into some more games, of course. We just had the one today. We've drawn Millwall in the Cup. And we have Arsenal and Man United next episode. So we're going to get the ups and downs this year. The ups and downs are coming our way, guys. But I hope you've enjoyed it, of course. Stay tuned for more. And peace.